Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Smith and this is my review of professional journal article for Read 884. Here is my presentation content. It starts with introduction, then goes to effects of phonic interventions, pre-assessment of the student in this article case study, the interventions, and her post-assessment. Here's the introduction. So the article I chose is entitled Pure and Short-Term Phonics Training Improves Reading and Print-Specific ERP in Class, a case study of a Japanese middle school girl. Now I chose this article because a lot of my students who are Japanese and in middle school have a hard time with phonics and reading and writing. So this would actually be very useful for me to learn about and to actually put into practice. Now I won't be really getting into the specific ERP stats and everything that they used. I will be focusing more on the phonics intervention. So here's the profile of the student involved in this case study. She was 13 years old and a junior high school second grade student, or 8th grade student, as we would say in America. Her English instruction started in 5th grade with pretty much alphabet recognition, alphabet song, singing, and also some basic English like introductional phrases like good morning, how are you, my name is, I like apples, kind of very simple English. The more intense English started when she began junior high school, 1st grade, which is 7th grade, and she started reading right away. Right off the bat, they start reading, writing, speaking, and listening, as well as a little bit of conversation. I'm sorry to say that most of her instruction is there for her to pass a high school or university entrance exam or English proficiency exam. They really don't focus a lot of conversational English, so it's a lot of reading and writing mostly. She has been having a very hard time in her English class. She's falling behind everybody. And this is not due to any learning disability. It's just she's having a hard time with English. So the initial goal of this article and this case study, and this is a quote from the article, is to examine whether pure and short-term phonics training could improve reading of English words. So here are some of the positive effects of interventions. So one positive effect that I got from a different article, and two of the effects I got from the article I'm reviewing. And the first one I got from an article by Lestrade, and she said educational interventions provide students with the support needed to acquire the skills being taught by the educational system. Pretty much the school systems are failing the students in a way, so they need additional support. And these small interventions are a way of supporting them without giving them any really intense instruction. As the article says, they say the interventions leads to better fluency, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and/or spelling, and also improves reading-related brain activity in poor readers. This constant phonics training wakes up and stimulates a part of the left hemisphere of the brain that helps them with recognizing phonemes and graphemes, and it really helps them with reading pretty much. The pre-assessment, her Japanese assessment was average. So like I said before, she has no learning disability. She's an average student in her Japanese class and her social studies and general studies. However, in English, she's falling behind and has very poor grades. And this could be due to just her lack of interest in English or the lack of instruction that she had in elementary school. Everybody has a different experience here in Japan. So her letter naming, she was able to name 22 out of 66, pretty much just point and say, oh, this is a B, this is a C. For capital and small words. Word matching, she was able to hear a word and touch the picture 15 out of 16 times. So she would hear sun, and she'd be able to touch sun, and she got really good scores on those. Well, when it came to reading or phoneme recognition, she did very poorly with just written words where she would hear a word and be able to point it out, like sun, and she would be able to point out sun, be able to point out the written word. Recognizing graphemes and non-words, were very poor. She got 3 out of 139 for both of those combined. So her intervention lessons consisted of 3 phases: phase A, B, and B apostrophe. Now, phase A was pretty much just reading words out loud. She would sit there with the teacher and she would read words out loud. And then she would go home once a week. She would meet with the teacher for 10 minutes. And then the rest of the week, every single day for 10 minutes, she would have an iPad and she would practice these words on her own while using an iPad. She would listen and then she would practice the words. And then there was phase B, in which she would practice 6 phonemes like a, b, k, d, f, and read the letters of a word phonetically after she had practiced the phonemes. So if she had practiced b, e, d, b, e, d that day, she would have a word bed and she would have to pronounce b, e, d, and then read it out loud. That also happened for the teacher would practice with her for 10 minutes, and then she would go home and practice on her own. Then there was a B apostrophe, phase B apostrophe, which she would do the same thing as phase B, but without letter sound correspondence. Each phase lasted 5 weeks long, so it was the whole case study, the whole intervention cycle lasted 15 weeks. Now, the post-assessment for her reading accuracy went up tremendously. Phase A showed an improvement of 12.5%, 35 to 47%, which is amazing. But more importantly, phase B, her phoneme recognition and able to read the words phonetically and then sound those words out as they sound in real life. For example, bed, she was able to do both for an average of 85%. Now there was an ERP study, but I don't have time to get into that, and I would need to do a lot more research in order to share that information with you. So as you can see, phase B and phase B apostrophe went from maybe like 5% or even lower to 80 and 83.9% accuracy, proving for a fact that interventions and like intense small interventions, phonic interventions, really improve reading. Now we'd have to see how she did in the following years to come, but for right now in her class she has risen well above average. The conclusion for this case study, this is a quote taken from the article. So in conclusion, pure and short-term phonics training was effective for helping a Japanese student with difficulties in learning to read English words. That is amazing. Having a lot of Japanese students in my school and a lot of them struggling with reading, this intervention, this phonics intervention style of teaching has really got me thinking and really got me motivated to put this into practice. I will be talking with my fellow English teachers and trying to ask them, is there a student in your class struggling? Can I take him out? And hopefully I can write my own case study or even my own just research paper on intervention education and try to get this more involved and a lot more have Japanese the school system take this a little seriously and actually put that into their school system. That would be very nice. Here are my references. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. I almost went to the 10-minute mark. I know it was long, but thank you for listening. If you're interested in this article, here's the information. If you're teaching ELLs, I really recommend reading this article. This case study, it was really inspirational, and the post-assessment results speak for themselves. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice day.